Good evening and welcome. Thank you all for being here tonight. Welcome to Rio Rancho Public Schools. Let's give Rio Rancho Public Schools a round of applause. So before I introduce the candidates, it's again great to have you all here today. Keep in mind that this is a forum, so all the candidates will be speaking to you. It will not be a debate, so they're not speaking that way, they're speaking to you. So with that being said, please keep it quiet during the event. This will be recorded. It is live streamed right now for those that can't be here, and it'll also be on the Chamber's site and the Observer site for future playback through the until the election in June. So with that, let's introduce the candidates. So in our first spot today, we have Martin Adiano. Our second candidate is Alvin Miller. In the third spot is Jose Gonzalez. Fourth spot, John Paul Trujillo. And then fifth spot, Victor Rodriguez.
Hello.
So I'll start off with the openings. We will do this in alternating fashion. And then all the questions will be asked by Tracy with the Rio Rancho Observer. So let's start it off. So Mr. Adiano, if you want, you have 1 minute opening.
Very good, and thank you for hosting us this evening. My name is Martin Ariano, recently retired from the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office. I'm also retired from the United States Army, so I've been retired twice. My last assignment in the military, I retired as a command sergeant major. The colonel and I were responsible for everything from Los Angeles to San Diego. We had a total of 300 sergeants underneath our watch and 52 recruiting offices. We were responsible for the Los Angeles MEPS, which is a military entrance processing station, and the San Diego MEPS, which is the San Diego military entrance processing station. When the colonel and I began our tour there, that battalion was ranked 38 of 42 battalions in the United States. Therefore, we were competing against 42 command sergeant majors and 42 colonels. When we left there in 2 years, it was the #1 quality recruiting battalion in the United States. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Miller, your opening.
Hello, my name's Alvin Miller. I go by Eric Miller. Alvin was my dad. I have 29 years law enforcement experience, from tribal lands to universities up to the Sandoval County, where I retired the last decade. I'm native born here in Santa Fe, grew up throughout this whole area. I believe in communities, and it's one of the reasons I've stayed here. Is I love this area, I love the people, and hopefully we can just improve some of the things that we need to improve. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez.
Yeah, my name is Jose Joe Gonzalez, and the reason I use Joe is because that's what I've been known for all my life. So I use Joe instead of Jose. I've been in law enforcement for just about 40 years. I've worked in the city, I've worked with tribal entities, I've worked in Sandoval County. I've also worked with the Mexico Game Control. So I have all of this knowledge, but at the end of the day, the thing that's more important than that is the fact that I am currently the undersheriff of Sandoval County, and trust is not something that we demand, it's something that we earn. I hope to earn that from you people, from everyone here in Sandoval County, and I am asking for your support.
Thank you. Mr. Trujillo.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the Observer and the school system for having us here tonight. My experiences with the county, I've been with Sandoval County for 28 years, and also in other parts of law enforcement and security, another 20. My term as a sheriff of Sandoval County from 2003 to 2010, we had one of the safest counties in the state. We want to keep it that way. And with the 11 reservations that are in Sandoval County, 4,000 square miles, we cover a large area of the county. This is very vital for response. by creating 8 districts, if I'm elected, John Paul Trujillo sheriff, we will put those 8 districts into play, so that way we have faster response within under 10 minutes. We're gonna do this, the sheriff's office has had an increase in deputies. Their technology is high standard, and we want to keep it high standard by keeping it.
Mr. Rodriguez, your opening statement.
Hello, everyone. My name is Victor Rodriguez, and first of all, thank you to everyone for coming here. Thank you to the Observer, thank you to the Chamber, and thank you to the Rio Rancho Public Schools for hosting this forum. I am a family man. Thank you to my family for being here, my wife of almost 25 years, my 4 children, my 3 grandkids, and all of my friends and family. I am a proud American, a proud New Mexican, I'm a proud Latino, hablo español y entiendo español. I speak Spanish and I understand it. I have been in the business 26 years. I have been an administrator. I have been chief of police in the city, tribal, and county entities. I have a master's degree in criminal justice and a business degree, master's in business administration. I've been an instructor specializing in mental health, and I've been a graduate of the FBI Academy of Command. I've been a graduate of the BIA Chief School, and I'm also a graduate of Northwestern School of Public Safety Staff and Command. I've also had the opportunity to be on various national and state boards. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. First question goes to Mr. Miller.
Okay, and I just want to thank all of you candidates for coming out tonight for this Sandoval County Sheriff's Forum on behalf of the Rio Rancho Observer. I'm Tracy Goldeyes and I'm the editor, and I also want to thank all of you for joining us in person and those of you watching online. First question on staffing is 90 seconds. For responses, according to data that we've received, as of 2024, Sandoval County had 63 deputies with 26 deputies and 6 sergeants on patrol. Of those on patrol, 2/3 are patrolling in southern Sandoval County. Does that provide enough manpower to patrol the whole county, and would you change how patrol officers are deployed to ensure more coverage for the rural parts of the county?
Mr. Miller.
There is not enough deputies out there currently. It's to the point where it's not only unsafe for the community, it's unsafe for the deputies. We're looking at, when I served, you would have 30 minutes to an hour before somebody could respond to back you up. The question becomes, is the county willing to put up more people to fill extra slots and to actually build a larger sheriff's department? The East Mountains, they rarely get a unit up there. We will do patrols up there, but they have to drive around through Albuquerque to get there traditionally. My intention is I want to take a deep look at it and see where the priority of the calls come from. And I believe it's mostly the Rio Rancho area, Placitas area traditionally, where more of the calls come from. They do have it split up to where there's traffic units, there are canine units, there are other specialty units that don't answer calls. I think they should answer calls simply for the fact that we need as many cops on the street as we can. And there's no difference between a canine officer patrolling and a canine officer taking a report. But we do need a lot more deputies in the sheriff's department currently. It's a horribly low number we have compared to other areas. It's a low number for the area we cover.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Gonzalez, is any question?
Well, at this point, when Sheriff Casals took office, there was 54 deputies. Today, we have 63. We're kind of different from other agencies because we have started to hire cadets, which requires them to go to the academy. 5 have been released, and on April 25th, they were released on their own, so that gave us a few more deputies for the street. Currently, there are 5 in the academy that are going to be graduating within the next 2 to 3 weeks. They'll have a 3-month FTO program, a field training program, and then they will be released on their own, which will give us additional personnel. So we went from 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 on patrol now. The 5 districts are covered. We have a rover deputy that can back up people Do we need more? Yes, we do need more deputies, and we have strived for that the last 7 years. Every year, budget time, I ask for 5, every single year. I get it. Taxes, we don't want to raise them, I get all of that. But this is the fastest growing county in the state of New Mexico. We have a large area to cover, so I do believe that we need more, and I will continue to ask for more.
Thank you. Mr. Trujillo?
Yes, by creating these 8 districts, what I want to do is, when I was sheriff before, I had people living in these districts, which made the enforcement and cut down on the response time. By doing that, you have these individuals that live in these communities, like Cuba, Jemez, Bernalillo, Rio Rancho. They don't have to drive as far. By driving from Bernalillo all the way to Jemez, or from Jemez all the way to Cuba, that it's a time process of getting to that call as soon as possible. When you have people that live in these districts, by hiring people that live in these districts, it makes it easier for the people to respond to them personally as they have problems that arise before it becomes a problem. By doing that, we do need more deputies, but by having people that live in these areas there, it cuts down on the response time, and you get a better community output from the people that live there, and they know you personally. By changing districts, and when I was there, they used to change districts just to make sure that we have people meeting with other people. We actually went with zoning also to make sure that they would report any new structures that we would have to input into our computer, so for a faster response to these areas, especially for burglary problems and theft while the structure is being built.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you very much, sir. Realistically, folks, this is not a Sandoval County issue, it's a nationwide issue. Law enforcement is in shortage every community you go to. How do we solve those problems right off the bat? Well, number one, I'm gonna hit this in 3 points, is you gotta reallocate the resources that you currently have. And it starts with the tone at the top. You have to get out there as a sheriff, as the undersheriff, as a captain, as a sergeant, as a lieutenant, and work the streets. If a call comes down, you're short deputies, you go handle a district yourself. Leadership by example. That's where it stops. That's the way I did business as a chief of police. I wrote tickets, I arrested folks, I answered calls for service, I went to court. That's the way you start by solving that problem of the shortage right off the bat. The second issue you start is what you want to do is you want to cross commission folks. The answer to our problem is already here. We have a numerous amount of agencies here already. You have Jemez Springs, you have all these rural communities, Cuba, that you could cross commission where a deputy is not available. That officer has the same authority to go handle the call, and they will be glad to go and assist you. That resource is there. It doesn't cost any money. Besides the fact that we have to come into an agreement through a mutual agreement of understanding. The second thing is, then the last thing is we work with our legislatures. We work with our county commissioners. We try to become competitive so we can recruit and retain. You do those 3 things, folks will stay, you'll have the numbers, and you'll be able to accomplish quality law enforcement. But it all starts at the top, folks. It all starts at the top, and it starts with the leadership has to be out there and has to be answering calls for service.
Thank you. Mr. Ariano, same question.
Let me begin by congratulating the current administration. Taking it from 54 to 63 is quite the achievement, so hats off to the administration there today. What we need to do is take it a step further now. We need to conduct a market analysis of what we have in Sandoval County. Santa Fe County has 2,000 approximately less folks living in their county, but yet their sheriff's office is twice the size of Sandoval. So we need to determine what the cause and effect and how we can change that. I ran the Phoenix Recruiting Battalion, which covered the state of New Mexico and Arizona, prior to running the Southern California Recruiting Battalion. What we did there is we expanded recruiting companies, we expanded recruiting stations, we expanded the amount of recruiters. Nobody has those expertise better than I. I can grow that agency significantly. We'll put that proposal on Mr. Linson's desk as a county commissioner and have him tell us no, but I will put the proposal to the county commissioners and I'll put the monkey on their back. We need additional folks out there campaigning from one side of the county to the other. The same folks say the same thing. We haven't seen a deputy here. Very seldom do they come around. So then we need to take it a step further. Are we doing the job and not getting credit for it? We have technology today, so let's pull the systems. Are we doing close patrols? I'll bet you they are. They're just not logging it into the system. And that's when those inquiries come in, we're able to articulate. We are in fact out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gonzalez, you have the next question. Tracy.
Okay, this will also be a 90-second question. What can the Sheriff's Department do to reduce the rising rates of property crime and vandalism in the county? Additionally, with an uptick in drug trafficking within Sandoval County, what is your plan to reduce the number of drugs moving through the county?
Well, at this point, I have a couple of notes here, just so that we can, I can kind of make sure I get my numbers correct. So, during this administration, we created 2 new divisions, and those divisions are the K-9 division and the Street Intelligence Crime Division. K-9 units are working a certain schedule where more activity is. So what they have done is, the K-9 units have, they have seized approximately 41 ounces or grams of fentanyl and 7 grams of methamphetamine. The street crimes unit for this year, for last year, January 2025 to December 2025, they have seized 7 firearms. They have seized 1,203,650 fentanyl pills valued at $3,610,000. They have also seized 7 kilograms of fentanyl powder. That value has not been determined as of this time. And they have seized 2,054.3 grams of methamphetamine.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. Mr. Trujillo, same question.
Well, when I was the sheriff, we had the people that live in different areas get involved by taking license plate numbers and activity that was happening in the community of a lot of traffic going to one place or another. At that point in time, we looked for the highest rate of traffic in that area, and we get search warrants, hit it, and that's the way we used to do it before. Everybody that was on patrol actually took calls. Everybody from the captain to the lieutenant, the sheriff, undersheriff, I took calls all the time if we were short. And by getting the community involved, we actually did a lot of different cases where we did a lot of drug arrests and prosecuted a lot of people through this by having the community involved by just taking partial license plate. When I was the sheriff, we had 5 murders that occurred in this county. All 5 were all cleared due to the fact that people had partial plate numbers or color of a car that was going up Northern Boulevard, Southern Boulevard in the middle of the night at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning by just a partial number. Everybody in those areas there would report anything going out there with illegal dumping or any suspicious activity. That's how you address something like this, by getting everybody involved, knowing that their name is not going to be put out there. We took all the heat, never had any confidential informant made.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Thank you for the question. First of all, as a sheriff, if elected as a sheriff, my job is not to tear down what resources are working, like the K-9 unit and the narcotics unit. My job is to enhance those. I strongly believe in both of them. I think it's important for narcotics, K-9, street intelligence, street crimes, however you want to call it. Look, folks, I've done this. As chief of police of the Pueblo of Isleta, we built a narcotics unit. Matter of fact, you can look it up. We've got one of probably the largest fentanyl busts here recently. That was the narcotics unit that I built. I understand how is it to deal with the drug problems we have. We have to go after the drug traffickers. We have to go after the folks that are peddling these poisons and that are killing our loved ones. And we got to hold them accountable. But we have to work together. That's what's important. What tends to happen is we have all these different types of specialty teams. Every organization has one, but we don't work together. And we need to work together, and that is my job as a sheriff, is to make sure that we're working together to address those issues, to make sure that we're going out there and holding people accountable. But at the same time, folks, we gotta be realistic. We're not gonna arrest our way out of these problems. And as a sheriff, we gotta be able to hit this on the front end and on the back end. We have to be able to work with our community stakeholders to make sure we educate prevention to avoid people from getting into to substance abuse to begin with. And at the end, we have to work to get them aftercare. Because it does no good to put folks in jail that have substance abuse issues where they have no resources so they can be successful members of society. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ariano, the same question?
Thank you. And if I could have the question repeated one more time, please.
Yeah, what can the sheriff's department do to reduce rising rates of property crime and vandalism in the county? And additionally, with an uptick in drug trafficking within Sandoval County, what is your plan to reduce the number of drugs moving through the county?
Thank you. Again, that's going to go back to the question that we just answered. We need to assess and determine what is working at the Sandoval County Sheriff's Office. I know the administration has added a lot of specialty divisions. Super. Do we need to tweak them? Do we need to improve them? What specific things do we need to do? Do we need to add resources to them? Do we need to add people to them? So those things are, everything is affected by personnel. If we have the people, which in reality, most agencies out there are doing a cut and paste to provide a patrol team to get out there and provide public safety. That's the reality. That's what's occurring on the ground. And again, we're gonna go take this right back to where we started, is we need to increase folks so we can do the good job that the question is asking. We can't reduce anything if we don't have folks in boots out there. That has got to be the primary focus, along with assessing what the good undersheriff has started and determine, is it effective? What can we change? Do we need to replace it? Do we need to add folks to it? Thank you, Penny.
Thank you. Mr. Miller, the same question.
Well, I think the answer is pretty easy, and that's get the sheriff's department back involved with the community. Still to this day, I've been retired 5 years. I still know people in every little village, every side of Rio Rancho that come and talk to me. Were they criminals? No. They were just hardworking people that I stopped to take the time to say hello to, that were able to provide me with information. There was just recently a news article on a young lady that I had arrested for burglary in Bernalillo. She's up to the same stuff, obviously, but I knew who she was, and I would expect our deputies to get out there and know who lives in what house, you know, what's the normal for a certain area, and just talk to people. People are an amazing resource. And when it comes down to specialized units like K9, I was a K9 officer for 8 years, they're amazing. But you have to set them and utilize them in specific ways. A lot of times, departments will get K9 units, and the next thing you know, they're at every public event in the world just to show off the dog. It becomes a dog and pony show. Specialty units. Narcotics unit, wonderful. Is that narcotics unit actually invested in Sandoval County, or have they become members of the drug task force and now work in Albuquerque 80% of the time and just come here every once in a while? These are questions that I have, not only as a resident of Sandoval County.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Trujillo, the next question is going to you first.
We're moving into some 1-minute questions here. What do you think is the biggest challenge the Sandoval County Sheriff's Office is currently facing? Why do you think that, and what will you do to address it?
Well, it's going to be manpower, and by funding we could actually get a couple a year to just increase that. That's going to help a great deal. By putting deputies in these areas where we have problem areas before it becomes a problem, if they live in the area, that resolves a lot of it due to the fact that the people can talk to the deputy about things that are happening in the community so that the sheriff's department can address it in the way that we need to address it. But it's always going to be a problem due to the fact that we've always had low numbers in Sandoval County. When I was a sheriff, we came in 2003, we only had 28 deputies at that time. Those very few deputies, and it's increased. I'm glad it's increased a little bit more, but I tried to get it up to 60 before I left, but budgets, budgets are a main thing. So serving civil papers and stuff does help us a lot with the community by giving us information of what's going out there. And I think this is going to be something that we need to look at. Specialized units are nice because due to the fact that they talk to people also. Thank you.
Mr. Rodriguez?
So I think one of the obvious is the amount of folks that you have to do the job that you need them to do. And so, as I mentioned in the second question, what you've got to be able to do is starts with the tone at the top, right? You got to be able to reallocate those resources. You got to be able to come up with strategies to use the resources you have from other existing agencies within the county to be able to supplement those. Work with your county commissioners. There's never going to be a time that there's not enough officers. I mean, there's always going to happen. There's manpower. It's a nationwide issue. But there are ways that you can solve those issues by reallocating. I love specialty units, but I also know that people become too comfortable in them and they become cozy in them. And you got to be able to reallocate those folks and get them out to work. And, our job as leaders, right, is to make sure that we're serving our community and that we're using those resources responsibly. And so that's what I would do is get those resources out there to the community by starting with me at the top.
Thank you. Mr. Ariano, same question.
Thank you, sir. So I'm the only member here that hasn't served with the Sandoval County Sheriff's Office. So what you have with me is a fresh set of eyes and a new way of doing business. Leadership is a little tougher than telling folk what to do. It's supporting them, it's listening to them, and accommodating their needs when they need that help. Whether it's family members, whether it's their own help, I bring that experience to the table. Having ran 2 battalions and 2 recruiting companies, my knowledge is vast. I've served with some of the most amazing leaders in the world, not just in the United States, but in the world, and have competed against those folks. Martin Mariano, thank you kindly.
Thank you, Mr. Ariano. Mr. Miller, same question.
Could you read the question once more, please?
Yeah. What do you think is the biggest challenge the Sandoval County Sheriff's Office is currently facing? Why do you think that, and what will you do to address it?
I believe the biggest challenge the Sheriff's Department is facing right now is getting the trust of the people back. It's no longer a Sheriff's Department that the deputies know the citizens and the citizens know the people. It's become commercialized, I guess, where they answer their calls, they zip around, they do their thing, they sit on the side of the road. It's very rare for them to stop and talk to somebody, say hello and get to know somebody. That's what I did as a detective. That's what I did when I was on patrol. It doesn't hurt anything for a deputy to stop his car, get out while you're outside doing your yard or, bringing in your groceries and introducing themselves. And they are going to gain a wealth of knowledge from what you know. Just a simple conversation of, well, the people in that house, they act odd. They have lots of cars that come by at night. It's not something you're going to call and report, but if you get that interpersonal dress.
All right, Mr. Gonzalez, same question.
Most people have already said that there is a shortage of officers. I agree. However, we have worked very hard to make sure that we are fully staffed, which we are at this point, and that the thing that I would think that we need to work on the most is this revolving door with criminals, right? We arrest them, they're in, they're out before the ink dries on the paper. We need to make sure that we take care of those things when we put somebody in jail, that, they are, number one, they're prosecuted, and we prove our case, and then they do time. That's what we need to do. The other thing that we are having kind of an issue with is the fact that the pool of officers that we could hire that are laterals, that can go right out to the street, that dwindles. And Other agencies pay.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Rodriguez, the first question's coming back to you again.
Okay, this is another 1-minute question. It is on staffing, and we've heard a little bit about some of this tonight, but we'll move forward with it. How do you plan to represent the unincorporated areas of the county that do not have their own police force? And what are your thoughts on a districted model of patrolling?
You know, the district model of patrolling has been out there for the longest time. I mean, they got them in municipalities, they got them in counties. It's not an issue of where your district is at. It's how many folks you have to cover those districts and to respond to that. That's why the using resources through cross-commissioning is so important. Because if you could have 4 deputies in the Jemez district, it doesn't mean they're gonna be 20 minutes away from the call, because they can be anywhere. It's such a large district. So you've gotta have the ability to use the resources, which is through cross-commissioning. And the way that you get rural law enforcement, for example, in Cuba, where a house can be right outside the city limits of Cuba, but the Cuba police officer cannot respond because he doesn't have a county commission, is easily solved by issuing them a county commission. And they can go and respond and assist, even take the call, depending on what's going on with the sheriff's office. And that's how you do it. It's the same thing with the East Mountains. We gotta get something out in the East Mountains. Those folks deserve coverage, and that's one of my priorities, is to get somebody out.
Thank you, Mr. Ariano.
I agree with Mr. Rodriguez over there. I think cross-commission is something we need to look into. We also need to look into the liability that comes with cross-commission, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. I'd have to listen to all the facts about that. We also need to assess where the crime is occurring in Sandoval County. We need to pay attention to that. We need to saturate that. We need to look at statistics. I've said it earlier, we have the technology. Let's use the technology to guide that sheriff's office. You go to the sounds of the drums, right? You gotta go find the enemy. It's no different out here. You gotta find out where the crime is occurring and address the crime that's occurring where it's at. Let's not wait till we're overwhelmed with it. So very good point, Mr. Rodriguez. I am in support of cross-commission, but again, we'll have to assess the pros and cons to it, liability that the Sandoval County will incur. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller, same question.
I agree cross-commissioning is an important factor, but at the same time, it can play against you. Case in point is what's going on with the Navajo Nation and the state police. The Navajo Nation has basically quit answering calls in areas they know the state police can get to first. So, would that happen in our situation? That is something to look at. One of the major things is getting out and getting to know who's causing these crimes. I mean, still to this day, I can name people in each area that I knew were actively involved in crime, and every single deputy knew who they were. And we just need to keep pushing forward with that. Once you identify them, get the information out. And districts, they work. Sadly to say, they do work for keeping deputies in order if you're supervising them. If you're a patrolman and you're more worried about staying in your district than jumping out to help with something else.
Thank you. Mr. Gonzalez, the same question.
Well, districts do work. However, it is up to the sergeants that are on patrol to make sure that we're not patrolling the incorporated areas and we're in the unincorporated areas. That is one of the big things that we're having is if you're in, we'll say West Rio, we shouldn't be in Rio Rancho where they have police. We need to be out where there are no police. Algodones is the same thing, and I agree with the cross commission. But as the undersheriff right now, some of these cross commissions, we're not vetting those people. And if the sheriff is handing out a cross commission to someone that we don't know how they were vetted, what their history is, that's gonna leave the sheriff's office, the county, and the taxpayer liable for lawsuits. So at the end of the day, yes, that's good, but how do we do it the proper way and the way that would protect the taxpayers' dollar?
Thank you. Mr. Trujillo, the last one to get this one.
Okay. Well, when I was sheriff in 2003 to 2010, we commissioned every law enforcement agency near Sandoval County. We had no problems with that because they were all law enforcement and they were vetted very good. We had, that's why I want to put people in those districts that live in those districts, because by them participating with other people in that community, this brings down the crime. We had crime was down under 15% in Sandoval County as I was sheriff. We had one of the safest counties when I was a sheriff from 2003 to 2010. But we got everybody involved because we had deputies that were really dedicated to the job and wanted to make sure that they had the best knowledge out there. The sheriff is a senior law enforcement officer in the entire county. The chiefs are appointed, they only have 4 stars, the sheriff has 5. He has jurisdiction over the entire county, villages and small municipalities. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ariano. Next question's coming back to you. We're starting back over.
This is another 1-minute question. How is homelessness being addressed within Sandoval County, and what, if any, changes would you make and why?
Well, that's a community issue. And unfortunately, we don't have the resources to offer more than a call for service where we are able to respond to that call and either get mental health professionals to them or get a ambulance to them to maybe take them in for an evaluation or whatever the case may be. So that's a bigger and broader question for the community leaders, the mayors, the county commissioners, the city councilors. Unfortunately, the sheriff's office can't fix every issue in the community. That's going to be something that's going to need a holistic approach to address. But having the folk on the ground is a start. Having folk that can get these folks to a shelter, to the hospital, or whatever the case may be. If they got an outstanding warrant, well then most folks that are homeless don't have a problem going to a facility, to be honest with you, to be housed and fed and have medical care. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller.
Well, I agree a lot with what he said. It's homelessness in Sandoval County is rare in the county to a certain extent. Depends on how you look at it. Okay, you have people living on the west side that they live in houses made of pallets. They live in just unimaginable things. Could they be considered homeless? Yes, but they're trying. We need to give them the support and resources that we can, get together with different charities, get together with different groups throughout the town and see what we can do to help them. Now, homelessness, when you see it on the streets, unfortunately, a lot of it does come down to mental health issues. And a lot of them try and medicate through illegal drugs. So they get sucked into this really bad void where it's hard for them to get out. What I would like to do is to work with Rio Rancho and the other surrounding areas to come up with a group effort to assist these people.
Mr. Gonzalez.
Well, this is kind of like an interesting question because 2 days ago we had a meeting with several individuals from different organizations within Rio Rancho and Sandoval County. These people are trying to assist to get the proper counseling and aftercare for some of the individuals that we have that have mental illness or are drug addicted. So as a team, we're trying to work together to get housing, to get those kind of things squared away for them, the counseling, the drug addiction treatment that they need. And I think that we're at the forefront. We're the ones that deal with them. We're the ones that see them every day. So yes, it's our responsibility to try to do the most that we can to help all of these individuals. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Trujillo?
When I was a sheriff from 2003 to 2010, we were the first sheriff's office in the state to actually train our deputies in mental health. We worked with the hospitals, we worked with the tribes. Each tribe, I met with each governor, and we would have them transported to the mental health unit in Albuquerque at the UNM, where they would take care of these people and evaluate and assess their mental capacity, whether it be mental illness, drug abuse, or any type of other type of problems that they had. So we were one of the first ones in the entire state to actually put this program in place, that we actually trained us. We had earphones and we had voices talking to us of how to decelerate the conversation with the person that is out of control. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez.
Well, I have a little different approach because I've done it. Number one is there is something the sheriff's office can do. I, as chief of police for the Pueblo of Sleda, hired a licensed mental health professional that worked directly out of the police department and went out with us on these calls to assist these folks, because mental health and drugs is typically involved in a lot of these situations. And we gotta be able to help these folks out, but at the same time, we gotta be realistic. It is not a crime to be homeless, but it's also not okay for you to infringe on the quality of life of others. And so we have a duty and a responsibility to make sure we enforce the law as well. We can give people the resources, but if the people are breaking the law, we as a sheriff's office have a requirement to enforce it. And let me tell you folks, I'm the only person up here that's been in both law enforcement detention. And sometimes the best help people get is when they get arrested and they go into detention and they get forced treatment. And so those are the two approaches that I've done that have been successful.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Miller, you're getting the next question.
Okay. Describe how you would work with the police departments and the municipalities within Sandoval County, as well as the departments in the Pueblos and the tribal nations.
So I'm a firm believer in the police team concept. Every department, Rio Rancho, the tribals, anybody, we need to work together to solve the same issues. And sometimes somebody will say something and somebody's feelings will get hurt. Next thing you know, two departments aren't playing well together. I don't play that game. I want the actual results from them. And if we had to come to Rio Rancho and help them, say on a DWI checkpoint, I would be more than happy to send people. If Sandia requested help, anybody requested help, I would be there for them regardless. It's not about politics, it's not about anything else but helping the communities. And with that in mind, you're able to kind of ignore some of the blow off that people will give you when you're actually out there trying to help them. I think Rio Rancho is a wonderful department. I really do. And I think it would be an honor as sheriff to have our deputies working with them. Even have some of them come out and see what we do.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez.
Well, at this point, the things that the sheriff's office is doing is we are kind of like the training hub for Sandoval County. We will train anyone that comes to our agency or asks for our help in training them. So we provide that to the smaller agencies that don't have the money to send their officers to classes that cost anywhere between $800 and $900, right? So, and then we will cover other municipalities when their officers are not available. We've worked with Rio Rancho. We have a drug task force that Bernalillo is involved in. We've asked Corrales to join. We've asked Santa Ana to join. So we're trying to put everything together to be that team to reduce crime. And crime in Sandoval County, let me tell you, it's low. And when we came in,
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. Mr. Trujillo, same question.
Like I said before, you have to get with the tribal officials and throughout the county, because each tribal official, the governor changes every year. Sandias had the same governor for years, but every other one changes, and they have a different capacity of how to do things. So in a sovereign nation like that, a sheriff has to go in there, assess and evaluate how they want things done. If we issue a citation on the state road, which goes through the reservation, that citation has to go to the tribal entity that it was cited on. And they have the option of not going to tribal court, but they can go to magistrate, because a lot of times the offenders might be from another pueblo. It's by meeting with the governors every year, you can assess and evaluate everything that they need to get done and what the problems that they had before, if we can actually solve and eliminate any arising problems by meeting with tribal officials and officials in the entire county.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez.
So the answer to the question is simple. It is a sheriff's job as a chief law enforcement officer of the entire county to serve everyone in Sandoval County, municipalities and tribes included. I am the only candidate up here that has been a chief of police for both a tribe and for a city. And so I have a unique understanding of each of those communities. And visiting the tribes once a year to ask them what they want is not knowing the tribes, is not respecting the tribes. I know the tribes because I've worked for them. I understand them. It's a whole different set of demographics. It's a whole different set of cultures and respect. For example, how many people here use the Zia symbol? Who went out and asked the tribe for Zia for permission to use it? I did. I can tell you there's probably folks on the stage that is using that symbol. That's respect. That's understanding your community. That's what a sheriff will do. He'll understand them.
Thank you. Mr. Gonzalez, you have the next question.
Okay,
I'd like to answer that if I could.
Oh, I apologize.
That's okay. It is a tough question. But because I'm an honorable man, I better bring it up.
Jumping ahead.
So, relationships are complicated, right? But it's your sheriff's responsibility to be the continuity for the community. Like Mr. Trujillo said down there, these folks are rotating in and out of there a year. Things change, right? So now you're dealing with a whole group of administrators. It's our responsibility as a sheriff to reach out to the tribal agencies, to the chiefs of police, to the local communities, the chiefs of police there, get out there and do what we've done here tonight, is introduce yourself to the community, show them what you bring to the table, inform them that the resources that are available to the county are available to everybody in the county, to include the residents on the tribal reservations. I get it. Respect, sovereignty, I know. I worked at Navajo Nation for 4 years. I'm pretty cultured on Native American lifestyles. I've helped many folks out. Thank you kindly.
Thank you. Okay, now, Mr. Gonzalez, you get the next question.
okay. What is your position on stand your ground and the castle doctrine?
I agree with it. Again, we've talked about the fact that there is a shortage of police everywhere, right? So I think that people need to protect themselves. I think that if they are going to have a weapon, that they need to be trained with it. You can't take something and just use it because you want to use it, but you need to be trained with it. But I think that you should be able to protect your family and stand your ground on your property.
Thank you, Mr. Trujillo.
Our agency actually trained over 500 people in the county while I was sheriff on concealed carry. Not one of them ever got in trouble of pulling it out at the wrong time or at the right time. None of them ever got in trouble because we actually had a training course for them. We had high quality firearms instructors. We had 4 of them at that time that would go and train these people in classes for 2 weeks, go out and actually perform the shooting and making sure that they were proficient and would not carry it to a place that was not required to have any guns on site. So we had nobody that ever got in trouble out of the 500 people that we actually trained for concealed carry. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez.
Well, I'm a common sense guy, and I'm gonna tell you right now that if you live in New Mexico, the likelihood of you having to stand your ground is highly likely with the crime we have. And so obviously I support it. I think it's important that a person has a constitutional right to bear arms. I think it's important for a person has the right to use that firearm. Sometimes you have to use whatever you have to as a weapon of opportunity given the circumstances. The one thing that I advocate for is that when a person is in a situation where they had to use a stand your ground or a castle doctrine, is that they are judged on a objectively reasonable standard, you know, with a person of the same type, same situation, because that's what it's about. That's what the way law enforcement, and unfortunately in law enforcement, that doesn't happen. You know, you want to be tried in the court of public opinion, but communities have, citizens have the right to protect themselves, and they have the right to protect their property and their life. And so I absolutely am a firm believer in it. I think it's a great question, especially for here in Sandoval County where we value our Second Amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Ariano.
If I could have the question repeated, please.
What is your stand, or what is your position on stand your ground and the castle doctrine?
It's in the Constitution, right? Right to bear arms. That's my response.
Okay, Mr. Miller?
I completely support it. It's, here in New Mexico, if you can't get an officer there in time or the situation dictates different, I would expect somebody to protect themselves and others. It's, like he was saying, it's part of the Constitution. It's a fact here in New Mexico, and I think we believe in a lot of freedoms here and a lot of rights, and I believe it's one of them, that you should be able to protect yourself and your loved ones.
Perfect. I think we're down to our last question. So this one goes to Mr. Trujillo.
Okay. Are you currently certified by the New Mexico Law Enforcement Academy as a police officer or to be a sheriff? And if not, why not, or why did you allow it to lapse?
Due to the fact that we have a 8-year term limit, and I had to get out of office after that term limit was over. As coming back to a law enforcement agency, I would have to give up my retirement, and I wasn't going to give up my retirement just to come back and stay certified, but I went through all the classes to keep my proficiency up in law enforcement. But unfortunately, we have term limits here. So as sheriff not being certified, I would be sent to the academy if elected by the people. Then I would get recertified through a waiver as sheriff of Sandoval County. And what I did before, when I was a sheriff, I went into Denver, Colorado to go through the Sheriff's Academy up there and went through the FBI Academy in '96. So a sheriff has to have accountability to know all the laws. Yeah, they got to know tribal law, state law, civil law, and state law. Thank you.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Great question. Very important question. I will tell you, yes, I am certified, actively certified. I hold the highest level of certification that the state of New Mexico has to offer, and I'm proud of it. I will also tell you that why the reason that question is very important is because we all know how New Mexico is, and we're a little bit behind the times. Right now in New Mexico, you can be a sheriff as long as you're 18-year-old and you have a high school diploma. You can be called what's called an administrative sheriff. There are folks on this stage that are not certified, and they'll answer that question. If you've been out of law enforcement more than 8 years, you have to go through the full basic academy. That means you have to start over just like a cadet. If you've been out between 2 and 8 years, you can do a certification by waiver course. But it is very important that you're certified, and not only that, you gotta be relevant what's going on. What happened 10, 15, 20 years ago, times have changed. And it's very important that you know that, and I've stayed up to date on that, and I'm well versed in that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ariano?
As I just recently retired, I am still a certified law enforcement officer in the state of New Mexico.
Perfect. Mr. Miller?
I've been retired for 5 years, so I would have to go through a 2-week waiver. But I am federally certified currently as well, which would also let me go through the 2-week waiver. So yes, I am certified federally, and I could easily get my certification for the state certification.
Okay. Mr. Gonzalez?
I am a certified officer within the state of New Mexico. I also hold the executive law enforcement certification. I am an instructor, and I am a master instructor of 5 different disciplines in police work. So yes, I am certified, and I plan to stay that way. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're up to our closing time. So We're gonna do it a little bit different. We're gonna go backwards this time. So Mr. Rodriguez, your closing statement.
How long we got, Jerry? Please.
I'm sorry?
1 minute. 1 minute, thank you, sir.
Yes.
So folks, first of all, thank you for taking the time to listen to us. This election is simple. This election is about the past, the present, and the future. It's about energy, it's about experience, and it's about education. And I hope that I have laid out that to you, and if I haven't, you're welcome to get a hold of me. I have the experience necessary, but it's not about how long you've been in law enforcement. It's about knowing what's happening in law enforcement and being relevant in law enforcement. And understanding that education is not just about having degrees, it's what have you done? What have you done to keep yourself up to date? And most importantly, energy. It's about energy, folks. You've got to have the energy to do this job. My vested interest is simple. It's sitting in the audience. My family, my friends, you, the voter. That is my vested interest. I am not interested in going back to the sheriff's office because I have an axe to grind or I want to keep my cozy job. I want to serve Sandoval County. I would appreciate your vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Trujillo.
I want to return back to the sheriff's office due to the fact that I've done it before and I had one of the safest counties in the state by doing so. By working with everybody in the county as I did before, we had a good relationship in and out of the county. I want to thank you everyone for coming here today. If I get your vote, I will make sure that we keep our county one of the safest counties in the state, and that we will actually work harder to make sure that our technology stays top-notch the way it is now, to keep actually adding to it, because with technology you have to add to it every 3 years to every year sometimes, depends on how times change. By doing that, that's keeping a safe community and keeping the community informed of what's going on in our community, in and out of the community, and keeping people involved by responding to their needs as a sheriff's department, because we are the law enforcement, senior law enforcement of the entire county. Thank you.
Mr. Gonzalez.
Well, I'm not looking for a title, number one. I came into this profession because it's a passion for me. So I'm not looking for a title, and after 4 decades, that passion is still there. I spent my entire career for this moment, and I believe and I know that I can lead this agency. I have proven it for the last 7 years. We are the lowest, we have the lowest crime stats. We have a full rank of deputies, and I think that speaks loudly. The other thing that I'm saying is I am asking for your support, and I would appreciate your support, because together there's nothing that we can that we cannot overcome. And I think that as an entire community, if we work together, we can accomplish anything.
Thank you. Mr. Miller.
Well, I've had cancer 3 times. My final one, I was just ruled cancer-free. And the whole time I've gone through this process, people want to know what I want to do when I'm cancer-free. Well, go back to what I love, and that's serving the people. Getting out, getting to know the people, helping the people that helped me while I was going through it. Because at the Cancer Center at Rust, you have wonderful people that walk through there and talk to you, and you just get to know people. And why can't we have a whole community like that, where we all get along, we all help each other, we all support each other? And that's what I'm striving for. I want every person in Sandoval to be healthy, happy, and be able to get the services they need. And that's all I want. I could honestly care less about the title. I want to help the people, because you guys have helped me.
Thank you. Mr. Ariano.
So I'd like to begin by thanking the folks that are up here on this panel today, because campaigning is exhausting. I have been playing musical signs for the last 60 days, so I have dug more hole than I ever wished to. So hats off to you folks. It's quite the endeavor. I want to go back to something that I said earlier. Leadership is about people, listening to them, supporting them, and earning their trust. For the folks located at the Sandoval County Sheriff's Office, you often complain that things don't change. Well, let's breathe fresh air into the Sandoval County Sheriff's Office. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the folks that came out. Thanks to the host. God bless America. Martin Arellano for Sandoval County Sheriff.
Thank you. Let's give all our candidates a round of applause. Once again, thank you to Rio Ranch Public Schools. Thank you to the Observer. Thank you to the staff and team of the Chamber. At the time clock's down, we've got all the check-ins for the past 2 days. So thank you all for being here and taking interest in this. Please let folks know that this will be live on the Observer site and the Chamber site. Thank you all. Have a great evening.